Hi, I'm Jim Raffle of the Jim and Shelby Show, all things print podcast. You may notice that Shelby is not here today. I'm joined instead by
Jeremy Poehls with Color Gamut Consulting.
awesome. Shelby is actually here. Hi, Shelby. She's behind the camera. She's waving at us. This is her favorite way to do a podcast. She's nodding. She's smiling. She is so happy. Anyway, the reason we're with Jeremy is that Jeremy is really a DTF expert. He wouldn't want to admit that, but DTF direct to film. He has worked in a variety of places, and I'm going to let you work that into your story. But we are doing a substantial amount of DTF work, and we brought Jeremy on as a contractor, not an employee. We're not hiring people, but we brought Jeremy on as a contractor to help us with this project we're working on. And man, we have learned so much from him. And one of the things we learned, and I'm going to let you plug this right here at the beginning, is you have a YouTube channel and you talk about direct to film and DTF. So why don't you plug that right now, and we'll make sure we get the link in the comments.
Yeah, I appreciate that. So yeah, it's just Color Gamut Consulting YouTube channel, and I'm really it's focused exclusively on DTF at this point because I think there's just a lack of really standardization in the industry, and so I try to help people have a better starting point. Obviously, shops will kind of do things that work best for them, but I'm trying to give them a starting point. I'm trying to help people understand the technology a little bit better and some of the I don't know how to get over some of the hurdles that a lot of folks have, especially with the negative feedback a lot of people give about hand feel with them. That's a series I'm actually working on right now, or I'm releasing right now. Is that exact topic. But I think there's just a lot of people out there wanting to do DTF because it seems like a fairly easy barrier of entry from a financial standpoint.
That's the only place.
but from a learning standpoint, it's really tough. And so I really want to fill that void of lack of education that isn't tied directly to a manufacturer. Because I think a lot of people in the industry are trying to educate as much as they can, but it definitely feels sometimes a little bit self-serving when they're selling a specific product. So I don't sell equipment,
which is awesome. So I want to circle back. You mentioned lack of standardization, and as you well know, that's part of why it's not part of why you're part of this project. It's part of why we're involved in this project as colorcasters. But the reason you and I met is about a month ago you attended G7 Plus expert training, which I happen to be the instructor of. What led you to want to do that? Because I've heard your whole story, which we're going to try and get out here. It doesn't seem like that necessarily fit in your path, but some people suggested it, right?
So I'd known about G7 for a while, and everything that I was learning from a profiling standpoint was all self-taught, and in a lot of cases just trial and error. Like I would see an option on a profiler in, say, like Digital Factory or something like that. I'm like, what does this button do? And I couldn't get a straight answer, so I would try it and see what happens. And so a lot of it was just being self-taught, but I felt like I had some holes and some gaps. And so I was looking for a resource that would maybe fill those gaps. And a mutual friend, you've done some work with him as well, he suggested I come to the class because they were hosting it.
Right.
And I was like, so I decided to come to the class. And because off of his recommendation, and definitely that's exactly what the class did. It filled like every one of the holes, even a couple spots where I didn't know there were holes, it filled them. And so I walked away from that class going, okay, I understand this, but I also left the class going, one of the things you push in the class is stabilize the system first. Like if you don't have a stable platform to be printing off of,
you're welcome, Don Hutchinson.
it's not going to work right. And I was just in that moment, I was realizing not only with the lack of standardization, but a lot of the systems are just not very stable, like the print systems as well as the environment. And so I actually left the class thinking almost more about that than anything else.
Well, in DTF, I mean, two things you said that I'm gonna try and key on is you filled some knowledge gaps you didn't even know you had, right?
Yeah.
So the most dangerous area of knowledge, the things you don't even know you don't know.
Yep.
And as the deeper I get into DTF, I thought, and I do know DTF at a very basic and fundamental level, right? But the things I didn't know about DTF are the things that have tripped me up over the last 4, 5, 6 weeks that I've been involved in this project. Fortunately, again, I have pretty broad knowledge of printing in general, and so I was able to kind of skate over those, and people like you have helped me fill those knowledge gaps, and that's what's so important in our industry is that we work together as a group, or it's really hard to get anything done.
Yeah.
And then so you mentioned stabilize the system. I mean, the first time I heard those words in that context was Don Hutchinson, the guy who invented the G7 method, right? And so the reason I waved to him and said you're welcome is it's like when we do train the trainer. He's like, make sure you emphasize, stabilize the system. Even say it in a funny voice, like stabilize the system. You know,
Yeah.
And it's because it is so. He does it to be funny, but also so you remember it.
Yeah.
Because it's critical.
Yeah.
I mean, we ran into it. So we were doing some profiling today. We ran into it today. It turned out we figured out kind of at the end of the process that we were having essentially banding, right?
Yeah, I mean, and the system just needed to run a little bit.
Yeah.
And a lot of times
it wasn't stable.
The Chinese manufactured machines notoriously need when they run the best. When they're almost like a super active dog.
Yeah.
Like if you keep them bottled up in a room, they get a little ill-tempered.
Yep.
Same kind of thing. If you let the printer run, it starts to run a lot happier.
Absolutely.
So
No
yeah,
question.
that's definitely.
All right. So what's your favorite thing about DTF?
I think it's versatility.
Mm-hmm.
I've done with the previous job I was at, we did a lot of testing on different materials, and have done even some hard surface stuff with DTF, which has been really interesting. Cardboard boxes are a lot of fun,
Mm-hmm.
but we just try to press on, see what would stick.
Is that shirt DTF?
This shirt is DTF.
This is not. This is silkscreen. So,
this water bottle is actually made with DTF.
That's kind of cool.
So
yeah.
it's not like I think there's better options.
Yeah,
for sure. But just
UV DTF or
no,
true true DTF.
Literally printed off of a Mamaki DTF printer.
Okay.
Yeah. So just I think the creativity and the versatility of it, because with sublimation, some other garment decorating types, you're limited to certain fabrics. Like sublimation, it's synthetics.
I'm thinking about that for prototyping. So you could print something and make it fit on almost any shape.
As long as you can apply even heat and pressure to it, it's fine. Yeah. Because DTF needs that pressure, where sublimation, you just touched it and it was fine. It didn't need any pressure.
Yeah,
so I think that's my favorite thing about it is the versatility and the opportunity to get into it fairly inexpensively. Because screen printers, if you want to set up a screen print shop, you're hundreds of thousands of dollars to get
tens
going.
Of thousands.
DTF. Exactly.
Honestly, a little less if you really want to go that way. But let's call it tens of thousands. It's going to be at least 20 to 30 grand to do it right.
Yep.
But with 20 to 30 grand, you've actually done it right.
Yeah.
Just from an equipment point of view.
Totally.
You still need a website, still need customers and all that fun stuff. But from an equipment point of view.
Yeah.
I also thought about rips. So you started mentioning some of the names of the rips, like NeoStamp, not CADLink, Digital Factory, which used to be called CADLink or whatever.
Everybody still calls it CADLink.
Yeah, now owned by Fiery. That's really that's the big two, right?
So I think Main Top has a lot of room, but it's not the greatest quality. There's a bunch of them that are getting into it. But
I've seen Print Factory.
Yep.
I've seen Flexi. I've seen Wasatch.
Yep.
So they're all in there.
Yeah.
But what I found interesting, I've spent enough time now, deep in the trenches. I mean, if it was my money and if I was spending that 20 to 30 grand, there's only one, and this is not an endorsement. I don't sell rips. He does, so I'm going to do the endorsement because it would be self-serving. NeoStamp. I mean, if I was getting into DTF from the ground floor today, no question, hands down, NeoStamp.
Yeah. And I provide support, train on Digital Factory as well, and I'm of the same.
And it's
mind.
not bad. I mean, those two are. I wouldn't even say they're a close 1-2, but they're definitely 1-2. And in my opinion, you can't really go wrong with 1 or 2. But I think anything else, except I don't have enough experience with Print Factory to say anything yet. Of the other ones I have experience with, they're distant thirds.
Yeah.
Not saying they don't work. They're just distant thirds in terms. And again, my main focus is color.
Yeah.
And then from a color point of view, NeoStamp is just super simple.
It's so much better than everything.
And Digital Factory, we definitely have learned how to get there.
Yeah.
And when we say get there, I'm a G7 expert and G7 expert trainer. My goal is G7 gray at the bare minimum, right?
Yeah.
And I figured out how to get there in DTF, which a lot of people I'm learning had never figured out. And
Yeah.
so that's kind of been a lot of fun as well.
Well, I think it's been the reason nobody else has like really done it is because traditional G7 folks like yourself aren't dabbling or aren't playing in that industry much. You're one of the first ones to like cross over to the dark side of the garment decorating force.
I love to get I mean I've been doing dye sublimation forever, and so that's why it was easy.
And DTF folks, there's not a lot of color profilers out there. I'm one of just a few that are coming out of that DTF world to be passionate about better color.
So join us, catch up. There's opportunities there for my consulting friends. So I have like I have any parting thoughts, because I have a last question that's kind of funny.
No.
Okay.
Yeah,
so
let's go for it.
So you got to meet Jim and Shelby in person.
Yes.
Are we as crazy in person as we appear in the podcast?
I would say it's pretty even across the board. I think if I hadn't listened to a few of the podcast episodes, I would have been like, "What is happening?" But the banter in the podcast is pretty similar to the banter
Shelby's losing
here.
it over here. I just wanted people to know it's not an act. That's really how we behave.
No, it's not. It's not. But no, it's wonderful. I mean, I come from a household where we do the same thing. We like to jab each other. We like to give each other a hard time. But at the end of the day, like, we're all going for the same goal. So
it's hilarious. My wife, I'll say things like, because Shelby, is several 1,500, 2,000 miles away from me where she lives, and so I'll say things about her to my wife, or more importantly to Jacob, my son, who works with us. I'll say something at lunch about Shelby, and Cheryl, my wife, will go, "Where's my phone? I need to text Shelby. I'll tell her you said so." Yeah, this is real. It's real.
Yep.
We like to keep it real. All right. Well, thank you for joining us. We appreciate it.
Absolutely.
And we will see you all in the next episode.